fastest way to travel. The direction of the wind is ideal when reaching because it can maximize the lift generated on the sails in the forward direction of the boat, giving the best boat speed. Also, when reaching, the boat can be steered exactly in the direction that is most desirable, and the sails can be trimmed for that direction. This is just one of the hundreds of things I have learned through sailing that I may have never had the chance to learn in my lifetime if I had not become a sailor. When I was very small, I developed an early interest in freighters because we lived so close to the water. My parents would take me to St. Clair and Port Huron, and we would spend the afternoon watching the freighters go by on the river. They were huge, and I found them fascinating to watch. Later, I learned that it takes lots of work and bravery to make them run. When I was 5, my family met David and Louise Bonsky. They invited us out on their sailboat Labor Day weekend of 2005. They own a 47-foot Venice Hill sailboat named Triumph. I was so little and Triumph seemed so big to me. Uncle David, as I have come to call him, showed me around the boat and how all the instruments work. It was so fun to be out on the water in the middle of the lake with the freighters that I had only watched from land before. I quickly fell in love with sailboats and sailing. We continued to sail with Uncle David and Miss Louise for the next 5 years. In that time, I learned the basic terms for lines and harbor on the boat, how to skipper the boat, and how to use basic instruments. They were members of North Star Sail Club in Harrison Township. They mentioned that the club had a junior sailing program for kids ages 9 to 18 years old, in which I could learn how to sail small boats called dinghies. I was so excited it couldn't wait to be old enough to join the program. Finally, in the summer of 2010, when I was 10 years old, my parents took me to the club and we signed up for the Junior Sailing Learn to Sail program. My father encouraged it because he had done some sailing when he was a child and knew that he could learn some life lessons from the experience. North Star Sail Club is located near the mouth of the Clemens River in Harrison Township, Michigan. The club was formed in 1946 in the cabin of a boat with just a handful of members. The name was actually chosen at a later date and was felt to be appropriate because of the fact that the North Star has guided sailors from the beginning of time. The club continued to grow and improve over the years, leading to owning more property, a bigger clubhouse, and more wells. Members demonstrated a huge interest in racing, and many gained status by entering the Port Huron to Macomb long-distance race. In 1980, the club hosted the Cal 25 Nationals. All club racing events had good turnouts, and the club had an excellent showing in the Macomb. In 1987, the club saw the completion of many improvements, including the addition of the junior sailing program. North Star has continued to grow and succeed ever since, with nearly 300 active members from throughout Detroit and Greater Michigan. North Star Junior Sailing was formed in 1990. It includes a fun summer program for kids ages 9 to 18 and an evening adult program. They are both taught by U.S. Sailing certified instructors. Sailors from North Star Junior Sailing Program have gone on to compete in collegiate, national, America's Cup, world, and Olympic competitions. One such person is Dawn Riley. Dawn has had a very successful career in sailing and has done great things to promote the sport. If you are not familiar with her, I encourage you to look her up. She is a very interesting person and someone I look up to. North Star Junior Sailing has been a leader in junior sailing locally for over 20 years. Countless young men and women have taken their experiences at North Star Sail Club and progressed to make sailing a lifelong passion, whether it be ocean coastal cruising, one-design racing, or day sailing. North Star Junior Sailing currently offers the following categories of sailing classes: Learn to Sail, Sailor Level, Racing Team, and an Adult Learn to Sail class. North Star Sail Club provides us with great facilities to hold the classes and sail. I began my junior sailing experience in a boat called an Optimus. It is a 7-foot single-handed boat meant for kids up to age 15. During my first year, I learned basic safety skills for being on the water, how to feel the wind, and how to trim sails on a small boat. At the end of the junior sailing season, I was able to be a part in the last race of the year at Detroit Yacht Club. It was so exciting. I was able to race my Opti in the Green Fleet on the Detroit River near Belle Isle. At the end of the summer, the Detroit Regional Yachting Racing Association, or DRYA, has an award ceremony at the Detroit Yacht Club. I received my first sailing medal here. All Opti Green Fleet first-time racers receive a medal of participation, and the other levels of racing receive first, second, and third place flags in their division. This sparked my interest in racing, and I plan to enter the racing program for 2011. North Star Junior Sailing also had an end-of-the-season awards party. Each sailor is awarded a paper plate chosen by the instructors, and some trophies were also given out. I won the Seagull Award, which stands for sportsmanship, enthusiasm, attitude, greatness, understanding, and love of the lakes, and the Opti All-Star Paper Plate Award. After my junior sailing program was over for the summer, I was invited to Cruz on a big boat for a few races in the summer series on Joe Perriard's SR-33, a 33-foot race boat named Sidewinder. This was a quite exciting experience for me to be able to crew on a race boat so soon after just beginning to sail. Joe has been a member of North Star Sail Club since 1967, and he has been the best mentor ever to me. I have learned so many skills, including the use of advanced instruments, how to trim large sails, the rules of racing, and how to work the runners on the boat. The runners are wires that control the mast bend in order to stretch the sails and achieve maximum speed. Since then, I have been crewing on Sidewinder for the Spring and Summer Series of 2011 and 2012. Sidewinder has won many single race and seasonal flags. Since I've been a member of the crew, Joe has graciously given the flags to me, and I've hung all of them in my room proudly. In October of 2010, most of the junior sailing racers entered the 2010 USA Junior Olympic Sailing Festival at Macomb Bay in Holland, Michigan. I was asked if I would like to enter, even though I had only raced one time in the Opti. I was so excited for it. I entered as a crew with my friend Paul Ronchuk as my skipper in the 420 class. The 420 is a 14-foot double-handed boat that can be sailed with or without a spinnaker. Paul and I raced for 2 days on Lake Michigan. It was a rare warm weekend in October. The temps were in the low 80s and it was sunny and beautiful out. It was such a great experience to be able to sail on Lake Michigan. We ended up taking third place in the 420 fleet and we both received bronze medals. I was hooked into sailing and couldn't wait for the winter to be over so I could sail again next summer. In the summer of 2011, I signed up for the racing program and was once again paired with Paul as his crew in the 420. This year, we were in the spinnaker class since Paul had already taken a flag as a spinnaker in the 420 collegiate class. Those blue and white striped parachute-looking sails are called spinnakers. I learned a lot from Paul. He is a really great sailor. We had a fun season together. I also sailed with Connor Hicks in the 420 class in the last race of the year at DYC. At the awards party, we won the North Star Junior Sailing 420 Sailors of the Year trophy. I had a great year learning to sail a 420 with 2 different skippers. Among the many skills I learned was teamwork and especially how to use a spinnaker. I continued to race on Sidewinder in the 2011 Summer Series, and then was asked to crew on then Commodore Chuck Drummond's CNC-39 named Surprise for the 2011 Fall Series. Surprise won 4 first-place flags that season. I was very proud once again to be a member of the crew of Surprise, and once again learned many new skills while sailing on the rougher seas of the fall months. Some of the biggest obstacles to overcome in the fall are the cold temperatures and much stronger winds. These winds cause the seas to become much more rough than during the spring and summer, and in turn cause the waves to be sometimes as much as 4 or more feet. Since I got to know Chuck during the fall series, I expressed my interest in becoming a junior member at North Star Sail Club. My junior sailing instructor, Christina Williams, encouraged me to fill out the application. Chuck told me that it was stated in the bylaws that the junior members had to be 14 years old. I was only 11, so I was disappointed that I would have to wait another 3 years to become a member. I had spent my entire spring and summer and fall at the club and loved to help out wherever I could. Then one day, Chuck told me that they brought up the subject at a board meeting and agreed to allow me special compensation to become a junior member. I was so overjoyed. I was going to become a member of North Star Sail Club. On October 6, 2011, I was inducted into North Star Sail Club as the youngest junior member ever. In the winter months after I was inducted into the club, I spent time there playing darts on Friday nights and going to the monthly meetings. At the January meeting, Chris Gergen, the fleet captain of North Star Sail Club, invited me to crew on his boat Pendragon in the 2012 Port Huron Mackinac race. I couldn't believe it. I had been wanting to do the Mackinac race ever since I started crewing on big boats, the past 2 years. But my parents said I was too young and I would have to be a teenager to do it. When I got home from the meeting, I told my mom and dad and they were a bit stunned. They told me I probably wouldn't be able to do it because I was only 12 and we didn't know any of the crew. I kept bugging them for a couple of months and finally got them to go to a meeting with me in March and meet Chris Gergen to discuss it. They were very impressed with Chris and were able to meet a lot of the crew members as well. Chris told my parents that he would have never asked me to join them unless he felt that I was ready for it and would be well taken care of. The crew consisted of a few first-timers, a nurse, a teacher, and a couple of sailors that had done the Mac race over 15 to 20 times. Chris suggested that I crew with him on Wednesday night races in the spring, and then there would be an overnight race in June to prepare for the Mac. I started off my 2012 junior sailing season as a skipper on a 420. I sailed with several different people as my crew, so I did not get in a good rhythm that season as a skipper, but at the end of the season I was able to crew with Emily Ronchak, Paul's sister, in the North Star Sail Club 420 regatta held at our club. We worked together and had an awesome race. We took a second place flag. This was my first junior sailing flag. After junior sailing, I continued to race on Pendragon on Wednesdays in order to prepare for the Mac and waited for my parents to give me the final consent to do the race. My parents finally gave their okay, but told me they were a bit nervous. They knew that it was the chance of a lifetime for someone my age to be able to crew on the Mac. I was so excited and couldn't wait for July to come. In June, we had the overnight race on Lake St. Clair. That was the first time we as a crew were able to practice shifts and sail in the dark in a distance race. We left just before sunset and it was gorgeous to see on the water. My mom and dad went out on Triumph to watch us begin the race and to take some pictures. We ended up finishing the race in about 9 hours and took third place. I continued to prepare for the race by getting all of my gear ready and racing on Pendragon on Wednesday nights. I had to get a few special things for the race, including a one-handed knife, a waterproof light, a safety tether, and a quick release on it. Finally, on Friday, July 13th, it was the night before the big race, and boat night in Port Huron. My family and I, along with my best friend and his family, headed out to Port Huron. We walked through the town looking at all the boats docked and ready for the race, flying their flags along the river. I showed my friend Pendragon and we took some pictures. While we were there that night, my mom got a call from Fox News. They would be going out at the boats in the morning before the start to talk to the sailors, and they wanted to talk to me since I was the youngest one doing the Mac this year. We didn't stay real late since I had to get up early for boat call at 8 a.m. I had a hard time sleeping that night because I was excited. I couldn't wait until morning. We woke up around 6 and got ready. When we got to Port Huron, I put my gear bag on the boat and we headed over to where Fox News was stationed. Jay Towers interviewed me and asked me about my sailing experience and what got me to this point at such a young age. Then I went back to the boat and helped the crew get everything ready for the trip. I went up the mast to get a few spider webs off the electronics and GPS. Then we took a few crew pics on board and left the dock around 9 a.m. and headed down the river to the starting line on Lake Huron. Our start time was around 12:10 p.m. We were late for the start, which set us back for the finish. During the first afternoon on Saturday, we started heading further out into the lake because we guessed that there would be more wind out there. All of the other boats stayed closer in the shore for the evening. We all took turns doing 4-hour shifts and ate when we were hungry. While out farther in the lake, we didn't see any other boat till we were about to cross Saginaw Bay. It was a North Star Sail Club boat named Excessive. They were on the opposite tack as us and passed right in front of us. That night there were heavy winds and we had our asymmetrical spinnaker up. It seemed like we were going in a complete circle and there were no lights and it was pitch black. During that night and early the next morning, we saw a large boat pass behind us with the navigation lights on. That was around Rogers City. The next morning I woke up to bright sun and no wind. We were around Boys Block Island and the Spectacle Reef Light. We were moving about 0.5 to 1 knot, and we could see Mackinac Island, but we're still 4 hours away. We were back amongst the other race boats now and had come up from being in last place to about fifth or sixth in our class. We had taken the risk of going out farther into the lake, away from the course that all the other boats were taking, and it paid off. As we got closer to the island, we could hear the photography helicopters circling the boats. We all sat for the next 3 hours, slowly moving towards the finish, and virtually no wind. As we were coming through the Round Island Straits, the wind picked up. During the final minutes, Chris told me that I could call in the finish of the race. This is a very nerve-wracking experience because if you made one mistake, you could ruin the entire race for the crew. Calling in the finish means that I called the time we finished according to our clock, but the race committee also records their finish time according to their clock. We finally made it across the finish line after 52 hours on Monday at 4:21 p.m. Everyone was very enthusiastic because we would soon be able to set foot on land again. After a half hour of waiting, we were finally given the instructions by the harbor master as to what slip we were to pull into. My parents and the rest of the Cruz families were waiting on the dock for us. We celebrated on the dock for a while, and we had a cake to celebrate one of our sailors achieving his old goat status. An old goat is someone who has completed 25 MAC races. Part of the tradition for first-time Mackinac racers is to jump into the harbor upon arrival. So I jumped in off the back of the boat. After that, we went back to our hotels to clean up and had a crew dinner that night. At dinner that night, we got final results that we had come in 5th place for the class. It was a great race for Pendragon's first Mackinac. The next day, which was Tuesday, was the big party and awards ceremony on the front lawn of the Grand Hotel. Hundreds of people filled the area and celebrated together. It was so much fun and everything I expected it to be. I am hoping to do the MAC every year from now until I can become an old goat too. When we got home from the Mackinac race, we wanted to look at an old Ranger 26 sailboat. We bought it and fixed it up, and I began to take it out with my family and on my own this summer. I named it Cruz. I raced it for the very first time as the skipper in the North Star Sail Club birthday race. Joe Perrier was my crew. We took 2nd place, and I received my first flag on my very own boat. I was also North Star Sail Club's youngest skipper to receive a flag in a club race. I plan to continue racing Cruz at North Star and crew in the upcoming season with Chuck Drummond, Chris Gerken, Joe Perrier, and David Louise Monsky. My short-term goals are to work for North Star Junior Sailing as an instructor or at the new and upcoming Lake St. Clair Sailing Center at Lake St. Clair Metro Park. When I'm 15, I would like to attend the Acorn program at Oak Cliff Sailing Center in New York, ran by Don Riley. This program teaches everything from match racing to diesel engine maintenance and to sail repair and hull theory. My long-term goals are to race in the Chicago Mackinac race, the America's Cup, and Valvo Ocean race. Sailing has become my passion, and I'm hoping to make a lifelong hobby out of it. If I continue to work hard and build on my skills, maybe I can even make a lifelong career out of it, and sailing may someday take me around the globe. Thank you for listening, and I have a few of my gear and a few of my flags up on the table in front. Are there any questions?
How'd you get up on that mast? How'd you climb all the way up there?
Actually, there's halyards that pull the sails up, and there's it's called a Wilson's chair, and it's usually a wood bottom, and then there's fabric with D-rings, and you tie the halyard on,
When you were on the boat going from Port Huron to Macomb, could you call your parents and let them know you were okay?
You couldn't really call them because you're kind of on between the border of the U.S. and Canada. So when you get to Canada, then you have like roaming charges. Also online, you can track the boat, and it'll tell you what the winds are in that area and how far they are on the trip.
It's pretty amazing nowadays. We could track him every move and every turn they made all the way up there.
That's awesome.
You said you were playing darts with a sailor's name is Cruz. You played Cruz yet?
No, I have not.
No. I'm going to have to teach you. Sounds tricky too.
Is it scary to sail in the dark?
For the first time for the overnight race, it was kind of scary because we went over to the Canada side of the border, and you know how there's all the wind turbines? In the night, all you can see is the red lights on top, and we call them alien lights because they just, every once in a while, they kind of glow on and then back off. So it's creepy because the night we were out there were a lot of fireworks in Detroit and stuff, but it's kind of weird because, like, you can't really see much around you. You can only see your boat. So it is, but, like, I got used to it after a while.
What year do you want to win the America's Cup? When is that going to be? You want to be the youngest to be in the America's Cup?
I'm not sure about that yet. If I could, that'd be cool.
Very much.
Thank you so much. What a great presentation today. We really appreciate you taking the time out, and I know that it really warmed our hearts today. I have one favor to ask you for our club members, if you can pick the winning number for our 50-50, which is $32, not $395.
Parks and doesn't want it too small.
The winning number is 418948.
Oh, yeah. Meeting adjourned. be okay.
Hey, Don, this next week, when I come to the board,
I've been sitting over my
I'm on the day.
Brother Bill's really good. We're all cute, right?
Nobody is speaking.
You know what I think it was, Mark?
Next week.
Then my brother Bill's yeah, I went to yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, your ex-husband joined the Bible right now. Yeah, they were killing things. I got some of these community guys.